Welcome to this video walkthrough on how to use Google Calendar's appointment slots to set up appointment meeting slots that parents can claim for parent-teacher conferences or students can claim for student-teacher conferences, all set up in Google Calendar. So with that, let's get started. Now, the first thing you have to do when you're in Google Calendar is make sure that you're on either day view or week view of your Google Calendars in order to get this function. So I've toggled over to day view, and I might decide, for example, on Friday, I want an appointment slot window from maybe 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So I'm going to click and drag and select this whole window of time. So from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., I have this slot that I like to use to set up appointment schedules. Now, by default, Google Calendar thinks that I'd like to make an event, but instead what I'd like to do is set up an appointment schedule. So I'm going to call this Meet with Greg and toggle over to appointment schedule. And now we're going to be able to walk through the setup process. So all we have to do is click set up the schedule. So now we'll get a slightly different view where this window will open up on the left-hand side of Google Calendar where we can just simply work through each phase of the setup process. So the appointment duration, it's going to default to 1 hour. I can simply change that to maybe I'd like to do 30-minute meetings. The availability, notice here, I set this up for Friday, the 15th, but if I want to, I can also add additional time slots onto any other days that I want. I can also decide, do I want this to repeat weekly, like every Friday from 9 to 2? Or I can say, you know what, I don't want that repeating. This is only going to be on the 15th from 9 to 2. If I wanted to set this up across multiple days, maybe I want meetings on Friday and next Tuesday and next Wednesday, I'll show you how to add additional kind of time slot windows to this original meeting once we've done setting this first one up. So by default right now, I'll leave it as does not repeat from 9 to 2. Now the scheduling window allows me to decide how far out can someone book this and how close to the actual meeting time can someone book this. So this is open 60 days out and up to 4 hours before, but I can customize that. Now let's go to the meeting settings themselves. Notice by default, we've set this up to a 30-minute window and we can decide the buffer time. So if I need at least 5 minutes between each meeting, I can simply change this to a 5. So now I have a 5-minute buffer. I can up that to anything that I like. I might want a 10-minute buffer. I'll leave that as let's do a 10-minute buffer there. Now we can even set up how many maximum meetings per day that we're able to accommodate. I'll set this to 5, for example. Let's keep going down through our calendar setup. I'm going to leave it on my basic user calendar, and we can even decide the color that this will appear in our Google Calendar. Let's just hit next and get to the next phase. Now on the booking page, what users will see, what parents will see or students is your picture that's tied to your Google account and your name. You can't change that. Let's just leave that as is. Now the meeting preference, what we get to decide is how would we like this meeting to take place. If you like to be virtual, you can simply attach Google Meet, and a Google Meet link will attach to every single calendar appointment slot that's selected by a parent. We can say, no, this is going to be in person. We can set this up as a phone call, or we can say, no, we'll just pick this later. So I'm going to pick Google Meet. Maybe these are going to be all virtual. I'll actually even change the name here to virtual. We can drop in a description. I can say virtual 30-minute meeting with Greg. Please use Google Meet link provided. Now the booking form. This is where you get to customize specific fields that parents or students have to complete when they're going to book this time slot with you. By default, it's first name, last name, and email address. But if you wanted to know why they're kind of asking for the meeting or what's the topic they'd like to discuss, I'll do add item. Phone number may pop up by default. I'll create a custom item, and I will do purpose of meeting, and I'll make that required. And then just add that in. So now we have 4 fields that parents or anyone else would have to fill out if they're going to have this meeting with you. And now the booking confirmation. By default, they will be sent an email automatically confirming that they've booked this meeting. Then they will also get an email reminder 1 day before. We can do another reminder maybe 30 minutes before, just so they get that automatic email reminder. And then we're going to save all of that. So now what we have here is on the 15th, I've done Meet with Greg virtual, and this is all set up 30-minute meetings with a 10-minute window and all the preferences we just built. Now, if I want to share this out for anyone to be able to claim a spot, all I have to do is click share. And here's the link that I can share this out. Now, I want them to have the single booking page just to meet with me for these 30-minute virtual meetings. And all I have to do is copy this link and send this out to parents. And again, this is going to be for that one Friday block from 9 to 2 that I set up. Now, what I'm going to do next is show you what it looks like when a parent claims a slot and fills out this meeting request. So here we are now. I'm viewing this as a parent. I can see on Friday from 9 to 2 p.m. or 9 to 1 p.m. we have this meeting appointment that's set up, and they're going to be 30 minutes long. We can see right here, Google Meet, and then this is a virtual meeting. Use the Google link provided. So I'm a parent. I'm going to claim the first one at 9 a.m. And now here are all the fields that I need to fill out. So this is the parent filling out this information, and the purpose of the meeting is to review progress in class. And I will book that meeting as the parent. An email has automatically been sent out to the parent, and they can go to their email to check that. If they realize they don't need to do that or they'd like to cancel, they can click cancel appointment. They can also cancel that meeting in the email confirmation that's been sent to them. So now let's jump back over to the your view, the teacher view, to see what that looks like when a meeting has been claimed. So here we are back on my teacher view. And again, I'm in the day view in Google Calendar for just this appointment slot time that I set up for the 15th. And here's from 9 a.m. all the way through. And here's the slot that's been claimed by a parent. And we'll click on that calendar event. And now we can see the Google Meet link already exists. I've booked it. Here's who, the parent that claimed the meeting. We can see what they filled in terms of the purpose of the meeting. And now that's set up and ready to go, and we can join that virtually. So that's the whole process. Now, again, if you need to grab that link to send out to parents, don't go to the individual meeting. I'm going to go to this whole time slot from 9 to 2. Click on that entire time slot. Click share. And then I can send this link out to parents or anyone that needs to claim a meeting with me. Now, this is just set up for Friday. Imagine that I also wanted to set up another meeting time slot, but add it to the same group so parents could claim a meeting on Friday or Saturday. I'm going to jump ahead to Saturday right now, and maybe I'll do meetings from 8 to 1 on Saturday. Meet with Greg. Now I'm going to toggle this over to appointment schedule. I'm setting this up from 8 to 1. Now, this is where you can say, oh, I'd like to add another day to my existing one. So notice here, add availability to existing schedule. I'll say, yes, I'd like to do that. And I already made this Meet with Greg virtual, and that's the one that I'd like to add it to. I do not want to create a whole separate event. I'm going to add this to the existing schedule. That's been saved. So now we have the option to meet on Friday or Saturday. And I'll show you what that looks like from the parent view. Let's go back to Friday. I'm going to go to this slot that I set up from 9 to 2. And I will click on share and copy that link. Now I'm going to jump over to the parent view to show you what it looks like when this appears over multiple days. So here we are in the parent view. And notice you can see that, oh, it looks like I can claim meetings on Friday or I can claim meetings on Saturday. And again, that process is just by going to any day that you'd like to meet from the teacher side and taking that chunk of time and adding it to an existing appointment slot that you've already set up. So I hope this video was helpful and you can use this moving forward to set up some appointment slots and meetings with parents for parent-teacher conferences or conferences with students. As always, just send me an email or let me know if you have any questions.